Hello, guys, and welcome to Football Fan Den UK. Another glorious day in the football world. So today, guys, we are here to do a stream with regards to Manchester United. I have been working on this, trying to work on it for the last 2 weeks, on and off, with doing other stuff. Obviously, crazy life that I lead, unfortunately, means I'm sometimes trying to do six things a day, as my family keep telling me I got to try and manage my stuff better to make to make my life a little bit easier, shall we say? So yeah, this stream has, even though it's might not appear to you guys, there's a lot of work gone into it. There's actually quite a bit of preparation and research gone into this stream, guys. Simply because I don't like doing stuff like this without actually having a clear perspective of the facts. So yeah, guys. So I'm going to go through obviously the details and the research and the stuff that I've come across, give you guys a clearer picture. But I want to hear from you with regards to all this stuff, guys, because like I said, we could. I mean, obviously, I'm gonna. The stream is only going to be so long, but we could talk about Man United, Glazers, owners. I'm sure we could talk about them for days and days and days. Um, but we're going to try and keep it simple tonight, guys. We're going to just try and hit on the facts, the main key talking points that we need to talk about. We're also going to look at some comparisons as well with other clubs. But yeah, like I say, guys, I will go over the details in a moment. So if you do join us during the stream, please do hit the like button, add your comments in the chat. You're also welcome to join me on screen if you wish to say more. The links at the top of the chat. So yeah, but obviously I am very much aware that a lot of people are not comfortable to come on screen, which is fine. You can drop your comments in the chat if you prefer. So like I say, guys, if you want to drop your comments, please just bear with me because I don't want to obviously get sidetracked because going through the facts and then jumping on the chat because I'll get confused with where I'm up to. So I'd rather try and cover as much of the details to start with as first. So I do appreciate you guys if you're there in the chat. Obviously, I'm not ignoring you. Like I say, just want to cover what I've researched for this stream in the start, right from the start, so I get it all covered. But yeah, I will come to your comments very shortly, guys. Um, so first of all, obviously, like I say, guys, with regards to Manchester United and the Glazers, it has recently been reported in the press. I think it was last week or the week before. There was reports coming out that the Glazers claiming that the Glazers were asking for as much as $10 billion for Manchester United. Now, I'm not saying that's correct. Obviously, that's just what the mainstream media are reporting. So we can't take it as fact. We just can only take it as reported news. We don't, like I say, we don't know how accurate it is. Um, but I am going to go over what I've discovered, guys, as I've been doing what I've been doing. So just bear with me a second while I bring up what I need to bring up for you guys. To see what I have researched. Some of what I've researched. Obviously, this is not all what I've researched, but this is some of what I've researched. So first of all, let's just share that. That should come up on the screen in a second, guys. There we go. There we go. Let's see if I can just change that. I can't. Oh, I've been getting used to another thingy, so it's not quite coming up. So we'll leave it on the big screen for the moment, guys. We'll leave it on the big screen for the moment. Um, so, as I found out, obviously through my research, guys, as you can see there, the Glazers purchased Manchester United for a rough sum. Obviously, these figures, please just bear with me with this, guys. These figures are all estimated. We cannot take them as accurate because, as you can see there, I've put reported Glazer's sale price is between 3.7 billion and 9 billion. The reason I have put that, guys, is because, like I say, whilst I was doing the research, I found such conflicting numbers. I found reports claiming that the Glazers were asking 3.7. I found reports claiming that the Glazers were asking 6 billion. Right, reports claiming the Glazers were asking 7 billion, and reports claiming that they were asking 9 billion. So obviously, I've put in the details there between from 3.7 billion up to 9 billion, because we just cannot be accurate with these numbers. Like I say, you can go and do the research for yourselves, guys. You'll see there is just absolutely all sorts of media reporting all sorts of crazy numbers, claiming that's what the Glazers are asking for Manchester United. Now, I'm not saying these reports are right, wrong. I have absolutely no idea, because, like I say, while I was researching, the reports I got were just none of them were adding up. None of them were consistent. It was not like you was finding 20 news outlets all reporting the same numbers. Every news outlet that I seem to come across were reporting a slightly different number to the other. So it made it really difficult with this research, guys, because, as you can imagine, with some of the other numbers I also researched, as you will find when I bring more information on the screen, guys, some of the other information that I was finding with regards to other numbers was just the same, really difficult to pin down exact numbers. So obviously, I've spent a lot, like I said, I spent quite a lot of time researching this, trying to get accurate numbers, and it was just a nightmare, guys, an absolute nightmare. I'd love to know how the mainstream media all come out with, varying numbers, different numbers that they're reporting that they're asking for. But anyway, that's something to debate another day. But I'm just expressing some of my frustration that came across whilst doing the research. But anyway, let's get to the bare bones of it. So, in the mainstream media, it is estimated as reported that the Glazers paid around £790 million for Manchester United, and I believe I did have actually these numbers, and I'm coming late and not got myself ready, but I believe this was around. Um, This was around 2005, 2007. So yeah, just bear with me. I'm just trying to. I don't want to report uh, numbers that I'm not got the correct details with, guys. So just bear with me a second. I'm trying to find the page that I used the other day to find out quite a few facts. Right. So yeah. So it was 2005. 2005. The Glazers bought Manchester United for 790 million. That's what the mainstream media have been reporting. That it was 2005 and it was 790 million. So now it's been reported over the last over the last 2 3 weeks. Last 2 3 years. This is where we're getting inconsistencies, guys. Because, like I say, I think it was around 2009 reports, or 2000. Sorry, no, yeah, 2020. Sorry, that it was reported that the Glazers were asking 3.7 billion. But basically, over the last 2 years, what the media have been reporting with regards to the Glazers, the numbers have been all over the place, guys. They're absolutely all over the place. So we can't get an accurate number to exactly what the Glazers are asking for Manchester United. So, like I say, that is why you've got a mixed number on the screen. So basically, either way, either way, whichever it is, whether it's as low as 3.7 billion or whether it's as high as 9 billion, it's irrelevant. The reality is that clearly the Manchester United uh, owners are looking to maximise their profits and the amount of money that they can make off Manchester United. Now, obviously, the mainstream media are making a big meal of what they're saying with this 9 billion. They're claiming that there was interest in the summer, and when the business people that were interested in the summer approached the Glazers, the mainstream media are reporting that the Glazers slapped a £9 million price tag on it, which is $10 billion on Manchester United, and that basically that is the reason for doing that was to put off any potential interest in Manchester United because reportedly the Glazers don't want to sell. Now, it's understandable why they don't want to sell from a business point of view because these guys, let's be honest, they're doing the complete opposite of what they said they were going to do. When they bought Manchester United, I remember it quite well. I'm not saying I remember it accurately, but I do remember it quite well when the Glazers came into Manchester United. They made it quite clear that they was businessmen, but that they wanted to see Manchester United continue their success and that they plan to invest in the club to do that. And we have seen that the Glazers have spent money with Manchester United on players and stuff like that. But they've not spent their own money, guys. They've not spent their own money at all. Now, I'm going to come out with some um, numbers for you guys. Now, I can't. Yet again, this is where I'm giving you the facts of what I found, and I'm just trying to be accurate, guys. I don't want to give false information, so I'm giving you based on all the research I've done and trying to give you a clear picture of exactly as accurate a numbers as I possibly can. But like I say, every number I'm presenting to you, guys, we've just got to take it as an estimated number because, like I say, there's too much fake information out there, fake news, basically, and mainstream media companies hyping up the numbers to make it look better headlines. So, as I understand it, like guys, this is how it breaks down. When when the Glazers bought Manchester United, they bought it by buying up the shares. So they started in 2003 buying a small amount of shares, and they gradually increased their shares in Manchester United until eventually they got a controlling majority. Um, Once they had a controlling majority, they continued to buy up more shares. Now, obviously, I'm not going to go in the ins and outs and details of each deal that bought up shares because we could be here for a week. I'm just going to give you the ballpark, guys. So, as I understand it from the research I've done, like I say, the Glazers, uh, when they finally bought the club, had invested, uh, and like I say, this is estimated numbers, somewhere in the region of 170 million or 270 million. So somewhere in that ballpark is what is being reported that the Glazers invested of their own money into Manchester United. Now, a lot of the media companies I've come across have actually been reporting that it was 270, but that doesn't add up with the claims that the loans for Manchester United when they bought the club were in excess of 500 million. So basically, if the loans were in excess of 500 million, then they bought the club for 790 million. So the 270 million would imply that they got 500 million plus loans. So basically, roughly around 520 million, and they invested 270 um, 270 million themselves. Sorry, I had to think about that then. So that kind of adds up. But some media reports are reporting that they invested as little as 170 million. So, like I say, we can't be accurate with any of these. Excuse me, we can't be accurate with any of these numbers, which is really frustrating because it makes it hard to get to the core of the problem. But the reality is, even if we can't be accurate, we can still summarize and make judgments based on the rough figures that we can find in the research. Now, obviously, with this loan being um, in excess of 500 million, um, there is a big interest. There is a big interest rate on it, and it means that basically Manchester United reportedly are paying around 60 million pounds per annual just to pay off the interest on this loan. Now, if you go back and do the research more, it's claimed that when the Glazers actually first took over, the interest payments was as much as 95 million per annual, which is per year. So this would explain why the Manchester United fans are frustrated, because they're seeing that the club is on loan, now in debt when it used to be owned. It had no debt. And because of this debt that the Glazers have lumbered the club with, it means that the club every year are paying a big chunk of their earnings to just pay off the interest. Never mind the loan, they're just paying off the interest. And like I say, you think about it, guys, £60 million doesn't sound a lot in today's game, because we're hearing these kind of numbers knocked about in the transfer window all the time. But when you think that £60 million is being paid just to pay off the interest, not to pay off the debt, just to pay off the interest, that is absolute madness. Now, these Glazers guys, obviously, we know it's becoming quite obvious they're not really sporting guys. That they're kind of businessmen, and that's the reality, that they seem to be more businessmen than sports businessmen. So, even if they are not sportsmen, why would you want to be paying off this kind of debt? I don't understand how the Glazers are letting this debt fluctuate. Because if we look at the research that I've done, guys, the debt is fluctuating. I've found reports that the debt has dropped as low as 400 million, then gone back up to 500 million. Then it's supposedly gone up to 600 million, and even as much as 650 million, and then it's gone back down to 500 million. So what are the Glazers actually doing with this debt? Are they actually paying it? Are they looking to get it knocked off and pay it and get it done with? From the research I've done, we can't be accurate because, like I say, the numbers I've found, none of them are accurate. We have to go with it as estimated, because there's too many media companies promoting or using different figures to suit their narrative to grab headlines. So in the research that I've done, it's made it really accurate, really difficult to pinpoint exact figures, which is why I'm giving you estimated figures, unfortunately. I've tried to pinpoint the exact figures as much as possible, but it's like I say, it's been really difficult. But anyway, even if these guys are businessmen, why are they allowing the club to be lumbered with £60 million worth of payments, interest payments every year? That is potentially, £60 million that could be made available to spend on a centre back, on a right back, because you've got to remember, Man United are not competing in the Championship. They're not competing in League One. They're competing, or trying to compete, at the top echelons of the Premier League, which means that they are going to spend that kind of money on one player. So this is just, off the face of it, bad business from the Glazers to be allowing the club to have this £60 million interest payment every annual. But anyway, guys, obviously I don't want to get stuck on that too much. I want to look at some of the comparisons that we can look at, guys, as well, with regards to what other clubs are selling for and have sold for, to gauge whether this, whether the Glazers, this £9 billion has got any validity to it, and whether the Glazers, if they are asking that kind of money, if they are correct, or if they're with being reasonable with asking that kind of money, and is that kind of money being, linked about with other clubs in other sporting clubs within the sporting world. So, like I said, guys, I want to come up with some of the figures. I'm just, yeah. So, sorry, yeah. I'm just trying to find where I put the other. Just bear with me a second. Just let me bring up these other. Oh, wrong one. Um, right. So, yes, sorry, I just stopped the screen to bring up the next post. Just bear with me a second, guys. Um, Here we go. Right. So, I'm sure you guys are aware of some of this. So we're just gonna. Here we go. It should come up now. There we go. Right. So obviously, this is some of the research I've done, guys, to make this comparison to whether the Glazers' crazy asking price is validated, whether they are actually just slapping a humongous price on to put people off buying. We can judge that with some comparisons to what other football clubs have gone for. Now, obviously, I've got some more to show you with you in a moment, guys. But we won't obviously start with the minimal ones. So, obviously, these are estimated figures. Manchester City, as we're well aware, have had major investment with their owners. But believe it or not, guys, there it is reported in the mainstream media that the Manchester City owners paid as little as £210 million when they purchased Manchester City. Now, obviously, like I say, we can't take these numbers as set in stone because, like I say, they're estimated numbers based on the research I've done. But we can take them as a guide. We can use it as a guide because we can know that obviously this is in the ballpark, if you like, of what these kind of numbers or these kind of figures that these owners are spending on football clubs. But now, when we look at this, obviously, it's £210 million that Man City was purchased for, but that was back in 2008, guys. So if you look at the fact that the Glazers bought Manchester United 3 years before that, and their total was 790 million. Now, the reason I'm pointing this out, guys, because Manchester City, as much as Man United fans won't want me pointing this out, it's a good comparison because while Manchester United was purchased for more back in 2005, and Manchester City were purchased for less in 2008, the actual reality is, whether Manchester United fans want to admit this or not, and whether they like it or not, the actual reality is what we've seen is that the Glazers bought a successful club that was on the up for 790 million reportedly, and since they've had control of the club has deteriorated. It hasn't improved. It has deteriorated. Yes, we've seen investment in the team, but it's not been investment in the right places. It's not been investment with the right managers, and we can see that by what we're seeing in results and what's going on the pitch. So, basically, what we've got is Manchester City has basically gone up in value, while Manchester United have gone claiming the Glazers are claiming they've gone up in value. But the reality is that Manchester City are now a club that regularly challenging for Champions League titles. I know we all know they've not achieved it yet, but they're regularly challenging in the Champions League. They're regularly winning Premier League trophies. And let's be honest, they're chasing down Manchester United's record of Premier League wins. And they've still got some work to do with that. They're still a long way off Manchester United's record of league titles won. But the reality is, if Manchester City keep going in the direction they're going to chase that number down. They're going to chase that number down because Manchester United under the Glazers are doing nothing to look like they're going to increase their numbers to keep that gap between themselves and Manchester City. So, when we look at these figures, guys, obviously I can't give you exact figures. Like I said, they're all estimated. But it is estimated that the Glazers are claiming, or it's reported that the Glazers are wanting as much as £9 billion. And it's reported in the mainstream media that the value of Manchester City since their new owners took over and since all the record investment that they've invested in the club, it's reported that now Manchester City is worth, or if it was sold today, we'd be looking at a figure in the region of £2 billion, somewhere around that kind of number. So if that's the case, when Manchester City have invested record amounts of money in that club, when their owners have invested in the infrastructure of that club, when they have had a new stadium, obviously, as well. And on top of that, we've also seen that they've been winning titles regularly and competing in the Champions League regularly and consistently. So if Manchester City's value has only reached to around £2 billion somewhere, obviously it's just ballpark figures, guys, then we've got to ask the question, with Manchester United going downwards, not upwards, their league form has deteriorated since the Glazers took over. Their European form has deteriorated since the Glazers took over. There is unrest with the fans. that it's reported that there's been minimal investment in the infrastructure of Manchester United. So what I'm pointing out to you here, guys, is we've got the complete opposite. We've got one club, one side of Manchester with major investment and improvement and winning league titles and competing in Europe. And on the other side of Manchester, we've got a club that used to compete in Europe, that used to compete in for the titles at the top of the league, and under the Glazers, they've stopped doing it. They've stopped competing at the top of the league. They've stopped competing in Europe consistently like they used to in the Champions League, and there's lack of investment in the stadium and the infrastructure for Manchester United. There's obviously a lot of turmoil going on with how happy the fans are with the way the club's being running. And as well as that, guys, let's be honest, we're seeing a certain amount of high turnover of players at Manchester United as well. So, what I'm trying to point out to you guys is we're seeing the complete opposites going on here with each club. We're seeing major improvement in investment in Man City and the complete opposite at Manchester United. Minimal investment, because let's be honest, the Glazers are not investing their own money into Manchester United. When they invest in players, they're only investing revenue that the club has generated. They don't invest their own money. Or if they are investing money that isn't generated by the club, it's coming from loans, guys. It's coming from loans. So the reason I'm pointing this out is that this is an indication that the Glazers are not running Manchester United for the correct reasons. They're running it in a business sense to make as much money as they possibly can, whether it's from owning the club or whether it's from um, basically the club's standing in the football world, in the sporting world. But the reality is that we're seeing the complete opposite, and it's evident just looking at the comparisons with Manchester City and Manchester United. So, obviously, we've got more to look at here, guys. Now, obviously, I've got that date wrong, haven't I? I've got that date wrong. Have I? I think I might have got that date wrong. With Leicester, with regards to Leicester, I'm not sure if I've got that. I think I've got the date wrong. I have no idea. That is just typical that I make that mistake. Sorry, bear with me, guys. Just let me double check. I don't know why I've made that mistake, and I think it's too. Yeah. My apologies, guys. With regards to the Leicester one, I've got the date wrong. I don't know. I must have been flustered while I was doing the post, making the post. But it's actually 2010. It's not 2000. It says there 2021. Well, that's inaccurate, guys. My bad. I've made a type error there. It's actually 2010. So the owners of Leicester City took over the club in 2010, not 2021. Actually, I find that really annoying when I make that kind of error. And they bought that club for as little as £39 million. And they've obviously had a certain amount of success, which is good for Leicester fans, for the club, and for the city. But this is the lowest club price that I could find for a club that has had success, that an owner has brought success and invested sensibly and a minimal amount. So it's 39 million. Apologies for the date, guys. I've got that wrong. Like I say, it was actually 2010, not 2021. So the Leicester City owners bought Leicester in 2020. Sorry, in 2010, which is really annoying that I made that mistake. So my bad, guys. My bad. Then obviously we've got this Everton owner as well that's bought Everton for 87.5 million. Now, obviously, that wasn't that was only for roughly around 50% of the club shares. So he's actually bought more shares since that figure was announced. I think I've got them the wrong way around, Anna. I think. Yeah, I think I've got, for some reason, I seem to have got the dates wrong way around because I think that's October 20. No, yeah. So it's August. Yeah, no, it's right. August 2010 for Leicester. And I'm not sure if I've got this date. See, this is what the problem when you make mistakes with dates. you start questioning all of them. But anyway, forget the get dates. The reality is that in 2010, the Leicester owners bought the club for as little as £39 million. They've invested in it. They've improved the club. They've improved the value, um, and they've had some success. They've brought some success to the fans and to the club and to the city. The Everton owner has invested his money into Everton, and he's only actually bought when he says 87.5 million. That is only for roughly about 50% of the shares of the club. Like I said earlier, he has actually continued to buy more shares. Uh, but the problem is, guys, when you're researching these kind of numbers and you're trying to find how much an owner has bought a club, unless they actually buy it outright, it's really difficult to pin down the number that they pay for it, which is hence why I say I've put a lot of research into this to make this stream, because when an owner actually buys the club by buying up shares, so he might buy shares 1 year and then buy some more shares the year after, and so on and so on. The problem with that then it makes it difficult to find out an exact figure what that owner paid for the club, because he's not bought it in one lump sum. He's bought it by buying into the club with a certain amount of shares, and then looked to buy other people's shares over a period of time. And then, like I said, that makes it really difficult then to pinpoint an exact figure of what that owner has invested in the club, or how much he's paid for all the shares in total, to give you a ballpark figure. So I could have come up with lists and lists of owners, but it would have been really difficult to pin down the amount that these owners have actually invested in the club, because, like I said, when they buying the shares a bit at a time, it's just so difficult to pinpoint how much they've actually paid for the club in total. Um, so we've got more figures to look at, guys. But the reality is that they're the lower prices of clubs buying, owners buying clubs. So they're the lower bracket, if you like. Even Manchester City, who obviously £210 million is in excess of what Manchester City, what Everton's owners, what Leicester's owners, but you can still make the comparison with the Everton owners. That if the Everton owner has managed to buy roughly 50% of Everton for £87 million or thereabouts, then obviously he's another 50% of the club that he doesn't own. And if he's paying around the same kind of money for that, then it does take the value of Everton similar or closer to the value of what the Manchester City owners paid for Manchester City. Only difference being is the dates. So I'm just going to quickly double check, guys, because I'm just going to quickly check, guys, because I want to give you guys the most accurate numbers I can. Right. So with Everton, like I say, it's quite complicated to give you exact figures because, like I say, um, there's been, as I'm sure you guys have seen in the news and the media, there's been a lot of talk about Everton and their owners and the club ownership changing hands in house, as well as other people um, wanting to buy the club as well. Um, so I'm just bear with me. See, apologies for this, guys. I just, like I said, coming in late from work has left me a bit. Where are we at now? I'm just trying to get the accurate more accurate information, guys. Because, like I said, I don't want to be giving misinformation. We get enough of that with the mainstream media, which is why I'm stressing the point of all the figures that we've come up with on the channel, on the stream so far, are estimated, and I'm sticking to that just simply, like I say, because we get enough. Like I say, we get enough fake news coming from the mainstream media. And we want accurate. We want to get the numbers as accurate as we possibly can, to give us a better understanding. Right. So yeah. Right. So yeah, it is reported that it was 49%, and that is reported to have happened in well, the report I found is around 2016. So unfortunately, I don't get why I've made so much errors with these dates. It's probably doing that much research. I've probably got confused when I've made the edits. I don't know. Um, it's really frustrating. But yeah, I'm struggling to find the exact date when the owners took over Everton. But anyway, that's irrelevant because it's another talking point. But the reality is, guys, that if we look at that figure, I'm really frustrated with that. I'm really frustrated with that. So we're gonna go on to the next one, guys, because I've clearly made a mistake on the post there, which I find really annoying. It's just the dates, guys. I've obviously got mixed up with the dates somewhere along the line. I don't understand. It's obviously me not concentrating on what I'm doing, or I've got confused where with the research at some point. So just bear with me a second. I'm gonna just change the thingy because this hopefully this one should be more accurate. Right. So here's the other figure, guys, that I come across now. Hopefully this one's more accurate. It's the money side of it's accurate. I know that because spent enough time doing the research for it. What's not accurate is I seem to have got on confused with the dates on that other post. So that's my bad. That's just really really annoying. After spending so much time doing the research for this stream. But anyway, my apologies, guys. I am still learning, as I say, just me getting flustered, obviously, whilst making the post. But anyway, as we can see, we've got more latest, up to date numbers with more recent sales of clubs. We started with M1s before. We started with M1s before because they was the older purchases, so they happened a bit back. There was older purchases, so these are the more recent purchases, guys. Now we're all well aware that Chelsea's recently been bought out for £2.5 billion by their owners. So obviously, and yet again, another comparison with Manchester City. Even though it's a hell of a lot bigger price, the Manchester City price obviously was in 2000. I think was it 2007 or something like that. And that was 210, wasn't it? 210 million that they purchased Manchester City for. So obviously that's what I don't know. That's like 15 years or something difference between the purchase of Manchester City to obviously the new owners taking over Chelsea. So there is a considerable difference in price, but the difference is that the owners of Chelsea have bought a successful team. They bought a team that had just previously, the previous year previously, had won the Champions League. A team and a club that was competing in the Premier League. All right, you can argue they weren't competing exactly at the top because they've been struggling with the pace that Manchester City have been setting. But they were up there. They were up there. They were in them. They were in them Champions League spots. Maybe not competing for the title, but they were up there at the top of the league competing. Um, so If the owners of Chelsea can pay 2.5 billion pounds for Chelsea, and the owners of Manchester City have paid 210 million pound for Manchester City, and these are owners that appear to be one. I mean, it's early days yet with the Chelsea owner, so we can't say just yet. But obviously, you don't just spend 2.5 billion pounds on a football club if you're not going to look to invest in it, because you know, if the owners of Chelsea do what the Glazers have done at Manchester United, then you would expect that valuation that he's paid for Chelsea, 2.5 million pound, is going to drop. So he's not going to want it to drop. He's not going to want to spend that kind of money on Chelsea and then have the value of the club or the value of the assets of the club, whatever you want to call it. He's not going to want the ownership or the consortium, whatever you want to call it, that own Chelsea. They're not going to want that figure to drop. If anything, they're going to want it to go up. So to get it going up, they're going to invest in the club because they've spent a big chunk of money to buy the club. It's not like just a few million pocket change, like we know that some of these owners invest in these clubs. And we look at Newcastle's owner, £305 million. We know to an owner like that, to the kind of money that this guy has got, that is pocket change. 305 million is pocket change to a man like that because we know he's a billionaire. He's not a millionaire; he's a billionaire. So it's pocket change. Guys, please do, like I said, just to interrupt, please do hit that like button and drop your comments in the chat. I will come to the comments at the end. I'm just trying to get cover as much of this as possible so I get it off said so that basically it's a better stream afterwards for people that might want to watch it as a video. So yeah, so if we look at like I say, if we look at this shows you this level investment shows you that the owners of Chelsea are probably not going to treat Chelsea the way the Glazers have treated Man United. The reason I'm pointing this out, guys, is because I'm starting to think whether the investment that when we look at these figures, 2.5 million for Chelsea, 305 million for Newcastle. Their owners have invested already. In the short time that they've had Newcastle, they've already started to invest. 300 million coming from the Liverpool ownership to buy Liverpool in 2010 as well. Their owners have invested in the team. They've invested in the club. In fact, they've massively invested in the club because we've seen that one new stand has already been built and another one is half built right now. So the point what I'm making is when we compare these owners, guys, and we look at this level of investment that these owners are buying these clubs for, and we're seeing that they're investing. And all right, like I said earlier, we can't see that with Chelsea's owners just yet. But come on, guys, we got to give them a bit of breathing space. They've only just took over the club. They spent a massive chunk of money to take ownership of the club. It's going to take them a year or two to implement their plans and their ideas. But it does look like the Chelsea owners are planning to invest more in the club. There's talk of new stadiums, talk of budgets, what they're going to make available for the transfer window, stuff like that. Well, you don't have that. Obviously, we've got to see whether they live up to this talk. But like I say, when they invest in that kind of money into the club, they're not going to want the club's value to depreciate. They're going to want the club's value to go up. So they're going to invest to keep the value going up. You would think so when they're spending that kind of money, £2.5 billion. So the point what I'm saying is we're potentially going to see investment from Chelsea owners. We've already seen in the short time investment from the Newcastle owners. We've already seen investment coming from the Liverpool owners. We've seen investment coming from the Leicester owners. We've seen investment coming in a massive scale from the Manchester City owners. Where is the investment coming from the Glazers? Because what we are seeing is not investment. We are seeing that, yes, Manchester United regularly have a transfer budget, and yes, they spend big money in the transfer window, but that money that's being spent is generated by the club or it's coming from loans. It's not coming from the Glazers. So the Glazers are not reducing this debt. They are continually lumbering the club with this interest payment of £60 million. every year that has to be paid before any of the loan is paid, guys. £60 million every year, reportedly, that just to pay off the interest. And we're also seeing that Manchester United fans are telling us, or at least telling me, that there's evidence that the ground is badly in need of investment, that the Glazers are not investing in the infrastructure of the stadium, or if they are, they're keeping it to an absolute minimum. We've also seen Gary Neville coming out on the mainstream media, also voicing his concern about the lack of investment in the stadium and infrastructure, also voicing his concern over the Glazers' ownership. So the reason I'm pointing all these facts out, guys, is because when we look at these numbers of these other clubs, when we look at the investment that we are seeing from these owners of these other clubs, and then we look across at Manchester United, it's chalk and cheese, guys. It's the complete opposite. So we've had the Glazer ownership basically in charge of Manchester United for a substantial length of time now. We've had the Glazers claim when they took over the club that they was going to invest, that they wanted to do the right thing by Manchester United. They wanted to keep building the club up and keep pushing it forward and keep it challenging for trophies. That has proved to be a lie. That has proved to be a lie, because what we are seeing is that the Glazers are taking money out of the club. They are also paying off the club's debt by the debt that they lumbered the club with, because it never had debt before they took over. They're letting the club pay the interest payments on the debt that they've lumbered the club with. And we're also seeing that there's no investment coming in the stadium or the infrastructure, or if there is investment coming, it's at a minimum. It's an absolute minimum. So what I'm trying to point out to you guys is when we look at all these different facts and make all these comparisons to all these other football clubs that have had new ownership, we can see investment. We can see progress with the other clubs. We can see that the owners seem to have shown that they have got an interest in football, that they want to invest in the club, that they want to embrace owning their club, that their respective clubs that they own. And we are not seeing that from the Glazers, guys. What we are seeing is, to put it bluntly, and this is just my humble opinion, you know, what we're seeing is arrogant businessmen that have lied to the Manchester United fans, claiming that they have the best of intentions for Manchester United. Well, the reality is, guys, the evidence shows with the financial figures, and when we look at it all, the research, the evidence shows that the Glazers, the only thing that they're interested in is keeping Manchester United making money. That's what they're mainly focused on. They're not interested in the club as a self. They're not interested in the club community. They're not coming out talking to the fans when they see these protests. They're not trying to calm the situation. We've seen that they were also tied up in the Super League idea. There was no apology coming from the Glazers for that. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So basically, the reason I'm pointing this out and the reason that I'm doing this stream today, guys, is I think that we can say with a certain amount of accuracy that the Glazers are the exact perfect example of the kind of ownership that we do not want in football. So why are the FA allowing owners to come into football clubs and not, and they're talking about this fit and proper testing? How is it that every other owner seems to have had to jump through loops and hoops and all sorts of red tape to gain control of these football clubs, particularly when we think of Newcastle and Chelsea's owners taking over their clubs, and the Leicester owners? They had to go through all sorts of red tape to take control of them clubs. And yet the Glazers seem to have been able to creep into Manchester United, take over it by buying up the shares a little bit at a time here and there, until eventually they've ended up with the club under their full control for a bargain price, let's be honest, and their minimum investment from their own pocket. Because as I told you earlier, guys, it looks like from the research I've done, the only investment coming from the Glazers towards buying Manchester United was when they first bought the club, when they first started buying the shares. Like I say, the numbers are we can't be accurate with the numbers, but the estimated numbers I come across was that the Glazers have invested in of their own money somewhere in the region of between 170 million to 270 million. Now it looks like it obviously with the research I've done and based off the other numbers, it could be 270 million. But there's also reports saying that the debt or the loan that they got from the banks was as much as 600 million. So, like I say, we can't, unfortunately, we can't get an exact accurate figure on these numbers. But the reality is that the Glazers bought Manchester United with loans in the region, and this is only ballpark figure, in the region of 500 or to 600 million pounds. And the rest they paid out of their own pocket. But that is irrelevant because even say they paid 270 million, they got 500 million on loan. Well, it'd be 520 million, wouldn't it? Because they paid 790 million for the club. So if this is correct, guys, they've had that money back. According to the reports I've seen, they've had that money back. If they invested 270 million of their own money, if that report is correct, they've already had that money back. Because the reports in the mainstream media that I'm finding are that the Glazers have took back in dividend payments at the end of the season, at the end of every season or at the end of every tax year, an owner is entitled to take a dividend if they want to. So basically, their wages, if you like, for their efforts managing whatever business or whatever football club it is. And it is being reported by the mainstream media, guys, that the Glazers, in the time that they've been in charge of Manchester United, have took somewhere in the region. Obviously, I'm only giving you estimated figures because I can't say that these are accurate because, like I say, mainstream media have presented that much fake news that it makes it really difficult to get the exact figures. But it is being reported by variety of mainstream media that the numbers that the Glazers have took out of Manchester United since owning the club can be anything from as little as 400 million up to £1 billion. That's what they've took out of the club since they've owned the club. So it could be as little as 400 million pounds up to £1 billion. Now that's obviously a big variation, but like I said, guys, with the amount of fake news that the media have reported out there, it's really difficult to find exact numbers. But my reason for pointing this out is even if the Glazers have only had 400 million pounds out of Manchester United given back to them in dividends, then they've still had their money back. They've still had their money back. If they paid 270 million pound into Manchester United when they bought it, they've already had their money back and some. So they've had their money back and some, but yet the debt stays the same. The debt has hardly dropped, guys. I don't even think it has dropped. It's still in the ballpark of around 500 million pounds. That is what the mainstream media are reporting, that the ballpark figure around that the Glazers or the Manchester United debt is still in the region of about 500 million pounds. So while the Glazers have paid themselves their money back in dividends and add tips on top, and we don't know how much exactly they've took because, like I say, there's too much fake news out there. We don't know exactly what they've took, but it looks, and the evidence is there to show with the research available that we can find based on the research available, that we can find out that basically it looks like the Glazers have had their money back that they've invested in Manchester United. They've also had a substantial increase on the money they've invested. So they've had extra. They've not just had their 270 million they've invested. They've had more in payments as well, in dividend payments. So they've actually had interest, if you like, or profit on their investment. And yet they've done nothing to reduce the debt at Manchester United. They lumbered this club with this amount of debt, and they've done nothing to reduce that debt. They've made sure that they've got their piece of the pie, and they've left the club lumbered with this debt and this interest payment every year of around 60 million pounds before the debt's even paid. So I ask you guys, what are the FA and the EFL doing? What are they doing? This is a perfect example. Somebody just as simple as me, as a football fan, can go away spend a week or two doing the research and finding out that there's a lot of misinformation about the sums and the numbers to do with Manchester United and the figures. But the reality is, one thing that I can draw from the research that I've done is that the Glazers are businessmen. They're not football men. They're not looking to improve Manchester United. They're not looking to pay off the debt. They're not looking to improve the infrastructure for Manchester United to make it better and to grow it as a brand and improve it. They're looking to use Manchester United as a big cash cow so that they can have their comfortable life and their big business plans, and probably use Manchester United in the future, or possibly use Manchester United in the future for other business ventures that they've got planned. And this is an absolute disgrace. This is an absolute disgrace. Why are the FA not doing this fit and proper testing, making it safer for protect our clubs? Surely, if rich owners are going to come in and buy football clubs, why are the FA not making rules to insist that owners invest a certain amount of their own money into the club to protect clubs like Manchester United from massive amounts of debt, like the Glazers have lumbered the club with? It's absolutely crazy, guys. It's absolutely crazy because, like I say, from all the research I have done, it to me, and this is just my personal opinion, but to me, it's clearly obvious that the Glazers are not interested in Manchester United for any reasons involving football. They are surely interested in Manchester United as as a business, as a cash cow, as a way for them to make money, as a way for them to grow their other business brands based on owning an asset that's part of the Premier League. That's the reality, guys. And the FA and the EFL have sat back and allowed this to happen. They've allowed this to happen. So we're going to be talking about more clubs in the future to do with stuff like this, guys. But the reality is that it is pretty clear from looking at Manchester United, and also when we look at some of the clubs that have got into financial difficulty in the lower leagues, it's pretty obvious that the FA and the EFL are not doing their job properly to protect our football clubs. And Manchester United is a perfect example of it. We now have potentially the biggest football club in the world owned by businessmen. They're not sports people. They're not people that are interested in the best interest of the club. They're not interested. They don't care what the fans think. We've already seen that because we've seen fan protests left, right, and centre, and we've seen the Glazers completely ignore it. Because why? Because they're sat in America where they're safe and they can ignore it. Do you think they'd be ignoring it if they was over here and living in the UK? No, they wouldn't be able to ignore it if they was over here in the UK. I'll tell you why they won't be able to ignore it. For a start, they'd have the press sat outside their front door wanting answers. But because they're sitting comfortably in America, hiding away, because that's what they're doing, sitting in America, hiding away, and as long as Manchester United continues to make them money, that's all they care about. They don't care about answering fans from the questions from the fans. They don't care what the fans think of them. They don't care what the Premier League think of them. They don't care what the EFL think of them. They don't care about anything involving the football aspects of football other than making sure that team keeps picking up results to keep them making money. And if that means they qualify for the Champions League, great. If it doesn't, they don't care, as long as they can still keep making Manchester United make money. The reason I'm stressing this point, guys, is this is a perfect example of owners getting control of our football clubs and not being interested in football. And it's there for me and you as football fans to see, clear as day, clear as the sky is blue, clear as the sun comes up every day. And yet the EFL, so-called professional football people running the EFL and the FA, don't see it, or didn't see it, or don't want to see it. This is why I am building Fanden, guys. I'm trying to bring fans together to build a fan community so that we can start asking the FA and the EFL to give us answers as fans. We're going to do it respectfully. We're going to do it professionally. We're going to do it to get you guys answers. That's the aim. But I need you guys to be supporting this channel to help me be in a position to go and speak to the EFL and the FA to start getting answers to stuff like this. Because unfortunately, guys, as the small channel we are at the moment, the FA and the EFL can just ignore me because, but the more we get fans supporting this channel and building a fan community for this channel and it grows and it grows and it grows, then we will get to a point where the FA and the EFL can no longer ignore me. And I can only do that with your support, guys. I want to get you answers to stuff like this. I want to get on the phone and ask the FA and ask the EFL for answers about stuff like this that matters to you as football fans. But I can only do it with the support that you guys give. And if you guys care about the future of football, care about these crazy owners and their crazy money they're investing into our football clubs and whether they're doing it for the right reasons, then I'm sorry, guys. I can only get you answers if we grow the support for the channel. And I want to get you the answers. I want to ask these questions to the relevant organizations and the people that are running football in our country on our behalf. I want to get you answers, and I will do it respectfully and I will do it properly, but I will not give up until I get you guys answers. But like I said, I can only do that if you guys are supporting the channel. So obviously I've gone over, I've rambled. There's plenty more to discuss around this, guys. There really is. There's so much to discuss, but obviously I don't want to keep rambling and repeating myself and going over the same stuff. So I'm going to come to the comments now, guys, see what you guys have got to say in the chat. Please, like I say, guys, do hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Give us a chance because, like I say, got bigger and more ambitious, big ambitions for the channel. We're going to try and build it as professional as possible. We're going to try and build it as respectful as possible. But the ultimate aim of the channel, guys, is to build a fan community, build a fan project where we start to create a community where we can start to say to the people running our games that we want answers. We want answers to these kind of questions. We're not going to do it disrespectfully. We're going to do it absolutely professionally and absolutely with the utmost respect. But we're going to insist that these people running the FA, the EFL, the SPFL, and the UEFA start to take consideration of the fact that stop being as arrogant to ignore fans. Start respecting that fans deserve clarity, they deserve answers, and they deserve, what at the utmost, the respect from the UEFA, from the EFL, the people running the game on our behalf. Fans deserve respect. And what I mean by that is you shouldn't be having, like me, going on the internet, doing loads of research and struggling to find out simple answers to simple questions because there's so much information out there. And because the FA and the FL and UEFA do absolute bare minimum to keep us in the loop as fans to what is going on behind the scenes at football clubs and within football infrastructure and football organizations. So if you care about these things, guys, support this channel. Support this channel because, like I said, I want to get you guys answers, but I can only do it with the support that you guys show to the channel. The bigger we build this channel, the more fans we get that care about the future of football and want answers to these kind of things, then the more I can start to try to work towards getting answers to things that matter to you guys in football, whether it's to do with the FA, the EFL, the SPFL, or even your own club. I can only start to chase down answers for you guys if we build a strong fan community around the channel. So that's enough of me rambling. Like I say, please do hit that like button, guys. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. So, Matthew Bishenden, how's it going, mate? I know your message popped up right at the start of the stream, but obviously today I was trying to stay very much focused on doing this stream as a kind of video as well as a live stream, so that anybody clicking in after we've done can view the stream as a type of video. So yeah, my apologies, mate. Like I said, I did see that you had commented earlier on. So apologies if you're not here, Matthew, but I'll still read out your comment. Hi, mate. Hope you are well. I'm currently traveling the long journey down to Greenock Morton away. So currently feeling very nervous. Though thought I'd just drop in and say hi. Hope the stream goes well. Thanks a lot, Matthew. Appreciate it, mate. And hopefully you have a safe journey there and back. And with a bit of luck, Inverness will get you a positive result, mate, in that game. But thank you very much, Matthew. Really appreciate you dropping in, mate. Much appreciated. Stephen Allen, very true. You would like all media. Very true. You would think all media would be reporting the same figures. Well, you would, but like I say, we already know that the mainstream media are more interested in headlines than what's the truth. And the evidence is that you just go and look at these numbers, guys. Go and research them. Honest, so difficult to find accurate numbers because there is so much misinformation out there about the numbers, and it's basically where certain media companies have changed or have hyped the numbers up to basically make their headlines look better and more appealing. And that's not right because we don't want fake news. We as fans we want to start getting more accurate. Well, I do anyway. I want to see more accurate news. I'm fed up with seeing fake news. I don't buy newspapers or anything anymore because you just can't trust it. You just can't trust it. They don't deserve to have you purchase a newspaper when you can't trust what's in it. So yeah, but thank you very much for that, Steve. I appreciate you dropping your comments in, and thank you for the fantastic work you do behind the scenes, mate. Really, really appreciated. Aaron, how's it going, mate? Appreciate you dropping in. All right, Gaz, mate, how are you doing? Yes, not too bad, mate. Really, obviously a bit flustered today because I've been wanting to do this stream for over a week now, and I needed to jump on it today, and I've obviously been out working as well, so it's been a bit rushed and chaotic, but I think I managed to cover it. I'm not happy at the best of the stream, but obviously some streams I'm going to be happy with, some streams I'm going to be a bit more unhappy with, but that's because I'm striving to improve, guys. I'm stretching out there to try and keep improving and get better at this stuff. But thank you very much, Aaron. Yes, mate, I'm good overall, and yeah, hopefully you're okay. And yeah, thanks for dropping in, mate. Great to have a Man United. I know you're a Dundee United fan, but you're also a big Manchester United fan as well. PFC underscore DY4 is Dylan. Hi, mate. How is it going? Yeah, not too bad, mate. Thank you very much for dropping in. I presume you're still very busy with what you're doing with your house move and stuff. So hopefully I will catch up with you at some point when when you've got that out of the way. But yeah, thanks for dropping in, Dylan. And yeah, thanks, mate. I'm good. Hopefully you're okay and not getting too stressed with the house move. Aaron Hatt, completely right. People complain on why we want the Glazers out since we've spent loads of money. The main reason is the investment. There's absolutely no investment. No, absolutely, mate. The investment is not coming from the Glazers. The money that appears to be being spent every summer appears to be coming from the money that the club generate over the year. And also, if they need it topping up a bit, then the Glazers are just adding it to the loan. They're just adding it to the loan. So the loan is never dropping. But if they can pay themselves the money back that they invested in Manchester United and some profit on top, then if they can pay off that 270 million or 170 million, whatever it is they invested at the start, and they've had that back and they've had profit on top of that, then why can't they start reducing this debt? That's the solid, simple answer. They're taking dividends every year, and yet they're not reducing that debt. It's an absolute disgrace, guys. It really is. I want to rant and rave about Manchester United's owners, the Glazers, but unfortunately, I'm doing what I can, guys. We all see many Manchester United fans on social media, on YouTube, moaning about the Glazers, wanting them out. I'm doing a live stream tonight, and the only Man United fan that I've noticed is Aaron. And if Man United fans claim that they want the Glazers out, where are they? Where are they? Why are they not here tonight? Why are they not supporting this stream? Why are they not getting involved in this chat? Why are they not telling us what they know? This just shows how fickle football fans can be. That football fans, I don't want to have a criticize football fans because the channel is about fans, but when it's deserved, it's deserved. This is an example of the tourist fans element at Manchester United, the lack of die-hard fans at Manchester United, because there's plenty of Manchester United fans you can find complaining about the Glazers, but in reality, they do all this complaining, but what do they want to do about it? You got somebody like me who's not a Manchester United fan, and I'm wanting to support their Glazers out campaign. I'm wanting to support them as fans, and yet where are they? Where are the Man United fans that claim they want the Glazers out? Where are the Man United fans that claim that they want the club put in first? Because like I say, I'm not a Man United fan, but I want to support fans that care about this football club and that want answers. And it's disappointing yet again to do a stream and see such little involvement from these so-called Man United fans that want the Glazers out. It's shocking, guys. I'm fed up with hearing about fans moaning about this, that, and the other, and then don't do nothing about it or don't show the enthusiasm to do anything about it. It's the same with with Arsenal, guys. There's one particular Arsenal fan that I know on social media, always moaning about everything he can to do with Arsenal, always moaning about the manager, but yet he's always the first one to criticise the club, but he's never the first one to congratulate the club when it's doing well. And that tells you the element of what we've got of football fans in the world at the minute, guys. We've got lots of so-called die-hard fans that want to sit there in their armchairs moaning about the football club, but don't want to actually get off their backside and do something about it. Because that means they actually have to put some effort in. It's easy to sit in front of a camera and moan and whine and whinge about your football club after a game. But what's the point in doing that if you do nothing to actually try and make things change? That's just my personal opinion, but I'm just disheartened to keep hearing all these Man United fans that I talk to moaning and going nuts about the Glazers, saying they want them out, that they've fallen, that they don't love football anymore because of what the Glazers have done and stuff like that. But yet they're doing nothing to change it. They're doing nothing to come together and change it. We've seen it a while back, guys, with this fake campaign of no fans in the ground at Old Trafford for the Liverpool game. Come on, guys. Doesn't matter what football club you support. We all knew that was never going to happen. There was no chance that Man United fans were going to boycott attending such a big, important game as playing Liverpool. It was never going to happen. But yet we had these plonker fans on social media trying to rally support to boycott such a big game. Absolute stupidity. And this is why we'll never get the Glazers out. Because as long as you have fans making stupid campaigns like that, trying to get fans to boycott a game that they know fans are not going to boycott, because if you don't, you're not a United fan. You're not a Manchester United. I'm not a Man United fan, and I know that Man United fans are not going to boycott a game against Liverpool. It's not going to happen. It's the game that they look for at the start of the season. They come out, the fixtures come out, and Man United look when do we play Liverpool? It's one of the first games they're going to look for. So what stupidity is it that fans on social media claiming to be Man United fans rallying? Unless we also have to consider the possibility, guys, that it could be fake fans. It could be fans imitating pretending to be Manchester United fans, but not really Man United fans. Like I said, guys, it is really disheartening to see fans unhappy with their club. And wanting change, but yet I'm seeing very little movement apart from a few street protests. Well, I'm sorry, but while the Glazers are sitting sunning themselves in Florida or wherever they are in America, LA, whatever, do you really think they care about a few thousand fans walking down the street in the pissing down rain in Manchester? Do they heck? Do they heck? They don't care about that one bit. If anything, they're laughing at the fans. So, like I say, for me, guys, I want to see some real action. I want to see Man United fans watching this, getting in touch with me on social media and telling me exactly how you start realistically putting pressure on the Glazers to get this club back under fan control or back under ownership that care about the club. I want to hear realistic solutions, not fake, clickbait. I don't want to hear stupid ideas about boycotting games that are not going to happen. That's not going to happen. I want to hear realistic solutions from Manchester United fans on how the Manchester United family, the Manchester United community move forward correctly, professionally, and positively to start putting pressure, realistic pressure, on the Glazers to sell this club. And the reason I want to see it, guys, is because I care about football. I care about football. And I don't like seeing that the biggest and richest football club in the UK, or what used to be the richest football club in the UK, is now being held to ransom by rich businessmen, and the EFL and the FA sit back and let it happen, do nothing about it, do nothing to get the fans' ownership, the fans' answers, and do nothing to try and remedy the unrest. And yet, like I say, the Glazers won't care when Man United fans are walking down Stretford High Street demanding change. They won't care about that. They're sat in Florida or in LA with the sun on their back. They don't care. They don't care. So we need realistic solutions. I've got ideas, guys. I've got ideas that could realistically put pressure on Manchester United. But the question is, would enough fans support them ideas? Would enough fans, really care enough to do the things that are needed and required to start seriously putting pressure on the Glazers to sell that club? I don't think so, guys. I don't think there's enough fans out there that stick to their word. And one thing you'll learn about me as I grow this channel, guys, I'm very much like that. I'm stubborn. If I say something, I want to stick to it. I don't like people that talk the talk and don't walk the walk. I'm very much, say it, do it. So when I see United fans talking rubbish on social media about, I'm going to boycott the games, I'm not going to games, I'm going to do this and I'm going to protest, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant if all fans, or at least 60, 70% of fans, you got to have, well, at least 50. You got to at least have 50% of the fans on the same page, all thinking the same way, and all coming up with realistic solutions that are going to pressure the ownership of Manchester United to sell the club. That's my thinking, guys. You guys might have a different opinion. That's fine. Football's all about opinions. But from my point of view, I want to see less talk from Man United fans and more realistic solutions to actually how Man United fans move forward. Because otherwise, this is just going to be an ongoing thing for the next 20, 30 years. But like I say, let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. So we got Aaron there saying there's got to be investment or sell the club, in my opinion, man. Man United should have the best facilities in the world, but Spurs are so far ahead of us in terms of stadium and facilities and the academy. Absolutely spot on, mate. But it's not just Spurs, is it? It's Manchester City as well. Look at you just have to go and look at that magnificent, and I've got to say it, mate. I know you don't, Man United fans want to like to hear it, but you've got to be honest. The magnificent facilities that Man City have built right at the side of their stadium. It's unbelievable. They built an absolutely top training centre. And, Manchester United are still left down the road at their old, out-of-date training facility that is probably in need of investment because the Glazers haven't invested in it. Like I say, that is definitely a fair point, Aaron. You well said, mate. Like I said, we've seen right across the board, just no investment coming from the Glazers from there on. But and if there is investment, it's coming from bank loans, and that just ramps up the debt more. So it's not investment when it's lumbering the club with more debt. So it's nuts. It's absolute nuts. Aaron Hart saying that's really upset that's upsetting that Man United fans are losing interests cause of the Glazers proves how bad our owners how bad of the owners they are, and I haven't given up. I'm keeping the faith and supporting them every game. Well, no, obviously, mate, no problem with that. Absolutely support the team on the pitch. Always, fans should always support the team on the pitch. That should be priority. But there is other ways that the owners of, oh, sorry, my apologies. There's other ways that fans can basically um, uh, put pressure on the owners um, to to sell the club. There's other ways to do it. You don't have to not go to games to do that, guys. There is other ways to do it. So, like I say, it's down to fans to come up with solutions to that to give to get like I say to put pressure on the Glazers to sell the club. You don't have to boycott games. It's not necessary to boycott the games. But like I say, um, for me, fans should always get behind the team. That's definite because it's not the team's fault what is going off or what is going on off the pitch. Um, but yeah, Aaron, absolutely, mate. I agree. It's really disappointing. Aaron also saying 100% agree. It was so stupid. We hardly emptied emptied it. In fact, I think they all stayed because we beat Liverpool. The whole campaign is stupid. If we want to get the Glazers out, we got to do it right. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Like I say, I understand the enthusiasm coming from fans wanting to try and make something happen, but boycotting games is not gonna it's not gonna achieve nothing because let's say Manchester United fans boycott the next game, yeah? So we get, I don't know, 20,000 fans all boycotting the game. It won't make a difference, guys. Man United can sell them tickets to plenty. There's 20,000 other fans that will take them tickets. So, boycotting games will not work. It will not work because, like I say, Manchester United got a massive, massive fan base. And that means that they can lose 20,000 fans to a protest, and there's 20,000 other fans waiting to buy them tickets. So boycotting games is not the solution. Having protests outside the ground, not necessarily the solution. It can add pressure, but it's not the solution. Like I say, for me, there is one clear and obvious solution. And I don't want to say it on the channel, but for me, there is one clear and obvious solution. And if Man United fans are genuinely serious about getting the Glazers out, that's your only option. That's your only option. The one option is that simple fact, and that is to basically stop buying. Stop buying Man United merchandise. Simple as. If you want the Glazers out, stop. That is the only way to start putting pressure on the Glazers. Stop buying Manchester United merchandise. As simple as that. Because there's no other way to hit them financially in the pocket. And you stop buying the merchandise, then you stop the profits going up. And if you stop the profits going up, then you stop the amount of money that the Glazers can take out the club. The fans could make an impact on Manchester United, dropping £10 million in revenue this season quite easily if they stopped buying the merchandise. Simple as that. But unfortunately, when the new shirts come out and when the new this comes out and the new that, fans want to buy it. And that is the problem. If fans, there was a fantastic movement a while back with Manchester United wearing the green and yellow scarves, which I believe represent the old colours of the club. So why don't Man United fans stop buying the new shirts and all the new, merchandise and start going to games, paying out for the tickets because you're supporting the team and you're supporting the players, but start doing it wearing old Manchester United shirts. Start wearing old Manchester United shirts. Stop buying the new shirts and make it known to the Glazers until they start listening to the fans and taking what the fans are complaining about more seriously. Fans will stop buying merchandise. And in protest, all fans will start attending games wearing old Manchester United shirts to make their statement, to make it clear that they're right behind the team, they're right behind the players, but they're not behind the ownership. It's simple, guys. You're making a statement and you're also impacting the Manchester United profits. And if you impact the Manchester United profits, that means there is less money for the Glazers to take out at the end of the year for themselves. It's as simple as that, guys. So I'd love to know your thoughts on it. If you've got any other solutions, I'm not saying, like I say, for me, that is the simple solution to have some kind of impact so that the Glazers start taking notice of the fans. Because at the minute, the way I see it, the Glazers are just ignoring the fans, and the fans, don't think that street protests and boycotting a few games is going to make an impact. And it's new. It's doing nothing. It's doing absolutely nothing. And the reason it's doing nothing is because a massive percentage of them seats in Old Trafford are sold right at the start of the season as season tickets. So they've got the money. Once you pay for a season ticket, the club don't care whether you turn up week in, week out or not, because they've got your money. Hence why boycotting games doesn't work, guys. Doesn't work. Doesn't work at all. And any fans that think it does, at a club the size of Manchester United, you're just deluding yourself. You are deluding yourself because you will never get enough fans to do it, to make an impact. But like I said, if fans stop buying the merchandise, that can make an impact. If enough fans stop buying Manchester United stuff, that will start to make an impact on the profits that Manchester United make, and then that will start to impact the amount of money that the Glazers can take out every annual. So yeah, that's my solution to the problem, guys. To put pressure on the Glazers to at least start listening to the fans. Aaron is saying, I'm sure I saw Gary Neville say that that academy is the exact same as it was when he was coming through at Man United. That's ridiculous. That academy should be the place you want to be as a youngster. Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. In fact, Manchester United's academy, part of it used to be, I'm not sure if it was loaned or rented out or owned, I'm not sure. But Man City used to actually share, they didn't share the same part, but it's all one big complex. And there's two parts to it. And Manchester United own one part, and the other part, I'm not sure if Manchester United owned it or Man City owned it. But Man City used to do their training there. And obviously, they want more privacy. They want to segregate themselves from Manchester United. So they've moved all their training facilities right next to their stadium. And I believe that other part of the stadium was actually rented out to Bury FC at one point. And Bury FC were training in the other part. But obviously, we saw what happened with Bury, which meant that basically there was no need for them to use that facility anymore because the club obviously became non-existent. So yeah, but yeah, thanks for that, Aaron. You're right. Like I said, I'm not sure of what investment has been in there, but yeah, obviously Gary Neville would definitely know better than we do because he's spent many hours at the training ground. So yeah, mate, we have to understand his point of view and where he's going. And obviously he's been a big critic of the Glazers, and rightly so. Aaron Hart is saying, by now Man United should be at Man City's level of academy and facilities. We should have an amazing academy and an amazing stadium that isn't rusty, but youngsters now want to go to City's academy. It's not just City, mate. Not just City. Look at it, right? You've got three of Manchester United rivals that have all invested in their infrastructure and their training facilities. Now, if it was just one club, we could argue, it's just one club. They did it because they needed to. But when you're seeing that it's three clubs that have all recently invested, and then we're also seeing that other clubs are potentially going to invest in their training facilities, i.e. Newcastle, because their new owners are looking to invest in their training facilities as we speak. There's a lot of talk going on about that as we speak. But the three clubs that have invested and improved their training facilities and their infrastructure, Man City, Liverpool, and Tottenham. These are three clubs that are competing with Man United at the top of the club, at the top of the league. And they haven't just upgraded their training facilities. They built completely new training facilities. While Manchester United have barely paid out for a pot of paint to freshen up the front of their training facility. Never mind new infrastructure. So, we're seeing it. We're seeing it right across the board, guys. We're seeing it so much that other clubs are racing ahead with investment, with owners with big ideas and big ambitions, and Manchester United and their fans are being held to ransom by the Glazers, who are only interested in making sure that Manchester United make money so that they can keep taking out profits and they can keep earning money from Manchester United. These people running that Manchester United do not care about football. They care about business. That is the reality. And the FA, it's there for them to see, and they've done nothing about it. And yet, we're seeing all this unrest amongst Man United fans. And do you not notice, guys, when results improve, Man United fans go quiet. They go quiet, and then as soon as results dip, they're out in force, moaning and whinging and wanting marches and this, that, and this is why the Glazers are getting away with what they're doing at Manchester United, because Man United fans don't stick to what they say. They get a couple of positive results and everything goes quiet. They get a couple of negative results and they're wanting to arrange marches and boycotts and this, that, and the other. There's no consistency. Results should not matter, good or bad. If fans genuinely want Glazers out, you have to stay consistent. You cannot do things based on results. You cannot lose a couple of games and think, oh, we're going to arrange a protest and we're going to arrange a boycott and we're going to arrange a meeting and this, that, and the other, and then results improve and you stop doing it. You've got to stay consistent. And this is what the Glazers are businessmen. They're intelligent businessmen, and they have recognised that this is the pattern that happens. They lose a few games, the pressure comes on them from the fans. They win a few games, the fans quieten down. Do you not think the Glazers have got the intelligence to work that out? Because I do. They're businessmen. They're not football men. They're businessmen. And they've got the intelligence as businessmen to recognise that, the fans don't stick to it. Yeah, they'll moan for a few weeks while we're losing. We'll win a couple of games and then they'll shut up again. Do you not think that they're thinking that? Of course they are. And the reason why they are thinking that is because they've already recognised that the Man United fans don't stick to what they say. They don't make any impact on them whatsoever. They don't make any impact on the Glazers losing money. They make no impact on the great Glazers profiteering. They make absolutely no impact on Manchester United's finance with, silly protests that achieve nothing. They achieved absolutely nothing. I think the best thing that Manchester United fans have achieved with their protest is getting Sky to go to America to look for the Glazers. That is about the best thing that Manchester United fans have achieved with their protest. The Sky reporter about 6 months ago went over to America and managed to managed to catch up with one of the Glazers and still struggled to get any kind of answers out of him. So they spent all that money traveling thousands of miles across the Atlantic to get a crappy little interview that didn't give them no better answers than what they already knew. It's crazy, guys. Absolute madness. Like I say, I would love to hear from you guys. Disappointing that we're not got more Man United fans. Maybe it's because it's Friday night. I'm not sure. Maybe that's having an impact on it. But for you guys that are Man United fans, if you watch this as a video afterwards, please consider supporting this channel, because I want what you want. If you really want the Glazers out and you want to make an interest, make a difference for your football club, I want to help with Fanden. As Fanden, we want to help, but we can only do that if we see that it really matters to you guys. You got to show that it really matters to you, and if it really matters, get support in this channel, because I can't do. Especially considering I'm not a Manchester United fan, what can I do on my own? So there you go, guys. I want to help, but it's up to you guys to help yourselves if you really want the Glazers out. Aaron Hart is saying, yeah, the academy from what I've seen, is so rusty. Same with Old Trafford and roofs. Come Roofs come off in some parts in Old Trafford. Fans are saying we need a new stadium, but I don't agree. Well, you might new stadium investment, whatever. Either way, the Glazers should be spending money on that stadium. Whether it's to upgrade fix it, clean it, paint it, or rebuild it. Doesn't matter. There's nothing. We're hearing absolutely nothing coming from the Glazers saying that they're investing in that stadium or they're going to invest in that stadium. And like I say, I don't think we will, guys. As long as we are seeing Man United fans not caring, not wanting to come together. I mean, it is an example, guys. Man United fans, 3-0 win last night. And yet again, this is perfect example when results, are going well. United fans go quiet. If Man United fans had lost 4-0 last night, do you not think this stream would be more active? Because I do. I do. I genuinely do, guys. I've seen evidence of it in the time that I've been doing YouTube. In the short time, I've already seen evidence of this. When clubs don't get the results that the fans want, fans will give be more interactive and come and get involved more when they're not happy with the result than they will when they're seeing results that they like. So this is exactly example, guys, of the inconsistency with the Manchester United fans, unfortunately. Um, But yeah, Aaron, you're right, mate. I don't like I say, mate. I don't know whether it needs a new stadium. I keep meaning, when I get some time, I am planning to go up to Old Trafford to have a look at this so-called rust and what have you that's going on at the ground. Because I will try and get round to that, mate, at some point. See if I can get some footage exactly what the situation is with this stadium and how bad it's starting to look. Because I've heard that from a few fans now that it's rusty. It's dirty. There's not been, that there's parts of the stadium that's got damage and stuff like that. Well, like I say, at some point I will try to get down there and see if I can get some footage of the stadium and what it's like. But yeah, but thanks for that, Aaron. Stephen Allen, agreed, Aaron. Just needs a really good refurb. Absolutely. Yeah, like I said, definitely no question about the investment needed in the stadium. Aaron saying, yeah, Steve, mate, Man United are just a shambles of a club at the moment. Glory has gone. Absolutely, mate. There's no glory coming to Manchester United until Man United fans, decide how they're going to come together and whether they're going to embrace the Glazers and accept the way the Glazers run the club, or whether they're going to come together as fans to respectfully and with a professional outlook on it, try and actually put pressure on the Glazers to at least come to the table to talk to fans. That should be the absolute minimum. I would love to agree that put pressure on the Glazers to sell the club. Fantastic. I just don't see it happening. I just don't see it happening because the fans can't come together enough just to put pressure on the Glazers to listen to them. The Glazers are sat in America with a nice drink in their hand, sunning themselves and laughing at Manchester United fans at the hypocrisy and the stupidity of their supposed Glazer out campaign. The Glazers are sitting there laughing about it. I'm telling you now, they're rich men. These are rich businessmen. And when they see a half-assed effort at protesting them, they're laughing about it because it doesn't affect them while they're sitting in the sun in America. They're miles away from it. So it doesn't matter to them because it doesn't affect their pocket. It doesn't affect what they do. Everything they do with Manchester United, they can do from America. So they're not affected directly by the protests and stuff like that coming from the fans. And I've told you earlier in the stream, there's only one way to put pressure on the Glazers if you really want them out. Only one way. So that's about it for me, guys. I'm going to call it right because obviously I don't want to ramble on because I'm hoping that some fans will watch this as a video afterwards. So if I let it roll too long, that won't happen. Apologies, guys, that this chat wasn't a bit more active. Maybe I've just picked the wrong night, but I've been working on this research for the last 2 weeks on and off, and I just wanted to get it get it on the channel basically while it was reasonably still fresh in my head. So yeah, that's about it from me, guys. Like I say, if you're new to the channel, please do consider subscribing. I'm a very passionate football fan and I care about what matters to fans. But to make any difference in the football world, we need more fans supporting the channel that also care about what's going on in the football world, especially when with a situation like this, where we're seeing, rich businessmen coming to Manchester United, making it quite clear they're only interested in the business side of it, and yet we're seeing nothing done about it in the football world, and we can't even see Man United fans sticking together to put pressure on the Manchester United owners to at least come and talk to them. So, thank you very much, guys. Last comment from Stevie. Very informative, guys. Thank you. Thank you very much, Stevie, for the hard work you do in the background. Appreciated, mate. And thank you very much for your comments in the chat, guys. Thank you to Aaron for getting involved. Big support of the channel. Really appreciated, mate. And any of you other guys that dropped in earlier, thank you very much. That's it from me, guys. Like I say, if you're new to the channel, please do consider subscribing. Hit that like button. And hopefully, I might speak to you soon at some point on social media. But like I say, from just a normal football fan, me, guys, I just care and I want to make a difference. But I need your support to do that. Okay, guys, take care. That's it from me. And from you guys, Aaron, final comment. Brilliant stream, guys, mate. Lots of good information. Thanks, Aaron. Appreciated, mate. Really appreciated positivity. Like I say, just a little bit disappointing with the numbers coming in, but I think maybe I'm probably picked the wrong night with it being Friday night, start of the weekend. But like I say, guys, I got to practice with these live streams to test the water. When's the best time to do them? And the only way I'm going to find that out is keep doing different times. But like I say, big shout out to all you guys that have took part. Special thanks to Stephen Allen, moderator, and Aaron Hart, who's always coming in, giving fantastic support. Really, really appreciated. Hopefully you guys all stay safe out there, and I hope to hear from you and see you get involved in future streams, because there's a lot more work to do yet for Fanden, and I'll be doing a lot more live streams to help other fans find us. But that's it from me for now, guys. Take care, stay safe if you're going to a game this weekend, and like I say, hopefully see you on a future stream. Bye for now.